All too easy then for the Chennai Super Kings. You thought at one stage this game could end very quickly because of Ajinkya Rahane's blistering half-century. Yep, you've heard it right. If you didn't watch that game, you missed one of the great Ajinkya Rahane innings, and it should almost come as no surprise that it's another player who's in, you could say, the twilight of his career, who has just shone brightly in CSK's yellow. The fastest 50 of IPL 2023 now belongs to Rahane, who came in only because Ben Stokes and Moeen Ali were injured and ill for this game. It just caps an efficient win for the Super Kings, and it raises further questions about the Mumbai Indians. This could be another long season for them, especially with how their batting is falling apart and their bowlers don't seem to ask enough questions. But we will ask some questions of Tom Moody and Shaun Tait on ESPN Cricket Info T20 Timeout. Let me start with Tait. With the Ajinkya Rahane innings, that's a player you've seen enough of, played with and against, and that's as good as he's ever batted, I guess.
It is. I mean, I think he was there at the right time. He had his chance. I think getting to bat in the power play, and then some pretty average bowling, to be honest. But he got to face early on. I think his first sort of 4, 5, 6 deliveries weren't great. Sort of bowling on his hip and in areas that he likes to hit the ball. So yeah, giving him a start like that, and he obviously went on with it nicely.
Yeah. Bad bowled as it may be, I mean, Rahane could easily be one of those players who's not had a lot of cricket or isn't a regular starter. He'd be thinking, let me work my way around, you know, and find some form. You didn't quite see that, though.
No, he's pretty experienced. I mean, he's a good player, isn't he? He's been there and done that sort of thing. And now to be down there and get his chance, and a mixture of obviously his experience being an organised, solid player with some, giving him some freebies early on. But
yeah,
anyway.
I mean, if Rahane would have got 40 of 35, no pressure in the run chase, good batting conditions, Tom, you'd have said, yeah, fine, it wasn't a tough game. But that he got 50 of 18 balls, 61 of 27. It's a story, isn't it? Ajinkya Rahane in his first game for CSK.
It's a great story. I think everyone enjoys, when Jinx scores runs, because he's just one of those likeable characters. He's always got a smile on his face, and he's been a great servant to Indian cricket. And of recent years, he's sort of had his ups and downs in IPL for whatever reasons. But, the thing that first came to mind was that I believe he's had a very good first-class season leading into this. So he's clearly got some good form behind him. And as Tait said, he was gifted a few balls early on, which just sort of lit the fire. And he then just took it on from there. But he wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary. He was just playing cricketing shots, that cuts and drives and flicks off his pads. But it was vintage Rahane on show tonight.
Would it be too early, or would I be jumping if I said this is yet another player who seems to be happy at CSK? As we know, the stories tend to throw out some names, whether it's Uthappa, whether it's Raidu, they all come to CSK, even if they get the odd game. They play differently than they've played for previous franchises?
You peak early all the time, Raunak. Look, I possibly it's clearly there's clearly a very, very good environment at CSK. There's a reason why they've had the success they've had over a long period of time. There's steady leadership. There's trust in the process that they have in the way they play and the people that they back. And Rahane's one of them that got picked up, which, to be fair, I think a lot of eyebrows were potentially raised when he was picked up. But clearly, MS Dhoni and Stephen Fleming had a plan that if this and this happen, well, we've got an established, experienced, level-headed player that can come in and play a role. And it just happened to be very early on in the tournament, all those stars aligned, and Rahane got his chance and showed his value.
Right. Well done, Ajinkya Rahane. He'd be very happy to score some runs at his home ground. But now let's just also ask questions of the Mumbai bowling. It did not look attacking at any point, barring perhaps the fact that Behrendorff struck early. But even after that, there was really no pressure for CSK, fair to say?
Yeah, you expect Behrendorff with the new ball to create something. He's pretty good up top. He looked lean at the start of the match, we sort of mentioned, and that's going to be a little bit of a concern for him going forward, I think. Obviously, the batting wasn't fantastic tonight, but you'd expect to come back a bit strong with the ball. But yeah, it didn't look fantastic. And even some of the younger guys, the spinners, it wasn't great tonight in general. So interesting going forward, watching them how that develops their bowling attack. They've got some. I remember the camera went to their bench and we said, they've got some good players on the bench there, but obviously with the overseas stuff. But how are they going to jig that around to get maybe some of those players out in the field?
Tom, do you sympathise with Mumbai that they've lost Bumrah and Jai Richardson was injured and they're missing some key players, or do you almost think this is what they signed up for with the way they've gone about their last two auctions?
I think every team's got a story, Raunak. When it comes to injuries and the hard luck stories, everyone has got that story they can tell. When I look at the Mumbai squad, I look at some superstars, but then there's a huge gulf between those superstars and the experience the rest bring to the table. So if those superstars aren't firing or aren't playing, you're asking a lot of inexperienced players to step up. And I'm talking about the players like Green. This is his very first IPL. Yes, we know that he's a special talent, but that's one thing. But having experience playing in IPL cricket and having T20 experience, which he hasn't got a lot of, certainly another thing. Then you got someone like Stubbs, who's a star on the rise, great hitter of the ball, but he's coming in at number 8 today. So again, he's a young South African experience, had hardly exposed. Then you got Brevis, another young player. So it goes on and on and on. So, to me, they've created a bit of their own problem themselves with the way they've gone about structuring their squad. Bumrah is a big loss. Of course he is. He's a world-class bowler. Jofra Archer would have been nice if he played tonight. Would he have made a difference in the result? Unlikely if Mumbai bat the way they have batted tonight. If Mumbai are going to win games in this IPL, they need to outbat their opponents, not outbowl them. As simple as that. They need to use their batting as their strength, and their guns need to fire to score above and beyond what the opposition do.
Yeah, if anything, CSK have shown that template in that game against Lucknow. They too have questions of their bowling, but they did outbat their opposition when the chance came. And Tom makes the point that they put a lot of money on Cameron Green, and in this team, it almost means he's got to fire right away. Otherwise, they could be staring at 3 or 4 very early losses. Is that fair, though, almost on Green?
It is fair, but I think, you're sort of almost putting money, or you're putting Green's for the future as well. So they're obviously backing him for maybe possibly a 5-year player, 10-year player, who knows? I mean, things change in IPL. But right now, because of the loss of Bumrah and Archer and these guys, they're asking him to be one of the top players right now, I suppose. And as Mood said, he's right. I mean, his Test cricket's been great so far, but remains to be seen, I suppose. He's going to be a good player, but remains to be seen how good a T20 player is going to be this season, next season, etc. So, I think they got some good. They've invested some, Brevis and Stubbs and Green. We said these guys, but I agree. I think right now you need the best IPL, the best T20 players in the world in Surya, Rohit, and Ishan Kishan to step up and fill that void or that gap, I suppose. Yeah,
if Tom talks about having to outbat teams, and you could see merit in that. Is this their best lineup to do that? I mean, if Archer was fit, Stubbs may not have been named in an 11, or possibly Berendorf may have been an impact sub. But would you sense, given the struggle at the top with Surya's form, with Green not quite hitting the ground running, that they might be better served with Devil Brevis, who often becomes a late inclusion before the season's gone? They probably need to act soon, even though it's still just very early days.
I think, is he, maybe is he, we think he's that good a player where you just throw him in and let him play the tournament and see how he goes. He's going to go pretty well. From what we've seen of him so far this year, last year, as a player domestically in South Africa, he's going to be great. It looks like he's going to be great. So, maybe it's time to throw him in and back him.
Yeah, it's a similar chat I think we had last year too, Tom, before the season went pear-shaped, you saw Mumbai's bowling isn't quite there, even though there was Bumrah, but there was no Archer and no backup, similar sort of story. And we kept saying, at what point did Mumbai say, let's put our best set of batters out there and try and outbat opponents, either score 220, chase 220, or keep posting 200 plus. But did they ever set out to do that? They dropped David as well. I know it's early days, but you do feel like if this isn't supposed to be another pear-shaped season for Mumbai, they've got to figure out what their best batting looks like. And does Stubbs fit in that? Does Brevis fit in that?
To be honest with you, I don't think either do. Because if you look at Mumbai's top four, you've got Rohit, you've got Ishan Kishan, you've got Tilak Verma, and you've got Sky.
Sure, yeah.
That's your top. Now, that top four is as good a top four there is in the competition, without a question of a doubt. So Stubbs played today, batted number 8. That's our spot. So when Archer comes back into the side, he's going to go there, bat 8, and more importantly, he's going to bowl 4 impact overs. So I don't think they can do a lot more than what they've got now. I think they need 2 overseas bowlers because their bowling depth is very, very shallow. So Behrendorff and Archer need to both play. And they just need to accept the fact that these experienced players, and Mumbai are in a very fortunate position where they've got Indian experienced players at the top of the order in Sharma, Kishan and Surya that can dominate in the IPL. We've seen them do it before. They're the ones that need to step up and score the big runs.
All right, fair enough. Now let's talk about Chennai Super Kings, shall we? Tom made the point at the innings break. This was a clever sort of 20 overs from them with the ball, and you sense almost without doing anything extraordinary, they've just efficiently put together a win. They would be backing themselves with home wins, as we know, Tom. So all the away wins they pick up, you think, just make CSK dangerous. When CSK start with wins, CSK become dangerous, don't they?
Every win away from home for them is an absolute bonus. It's nearly like a double win because we know what they're like at home. They own their home turf. I think the number is 71% record at home. So that's extraordinary, and it's way far and above any other team in the competition. So, they'll be walking away tonight with a real grin on their face, knowing that that's a big win for them and an important one in their campaign.
Do you sense also that this is the kind of win, and now that the team's winning, it gives you confidence that our bowling is not as bad as a lot of people may have thought it was? Deshpande is looking better with every game. This game could do wonders for him. Santner's looking the part, even if the overseas combination may move around. And today they had Magala and Pretorius, who didn't have the worst night out either. So there is scope to figure out whatever their death bowling holes may be.
Well, to me, again, looking at the way Mumbai bowled, it was very much a MS Dhoni template of, finding his way around 20 overs with the spin options he's got. Even though he's got some, obvious holes in his pace options, he's very clever in the way that he, can manoeuvre his spin bowlers into positions, whether it be whatever phase it is, and get the best out of them. And he also, interesting enough, and I mentioned this in break, he has an uncanny knack of backing the unexpected player that's come out of left field and, helping develop that player as a tournament unfolds. Obviously, Magala didn't have the greatest start, but again, he backed him and he ended up bowling 4 overs. A lot of other captains would have left him hanging out to dry, just bowling 2 overs, and he would have walked away from one stadium thinking, oh gosh, that was a bit of a horrible experience my first game. I only, bowled the 2 overs and I went for 15 and over. But he's walked away having completed his 4 overs, taking a wicket and just going for over 30 in his 4 overs. So it all sort of ended up okay for him. So he's going to be better off for the run than in his first game.
And I guess you could also relate to either as a young overseas player like Magala playing his first IPL game, or even a Tushar Deshpande, how important a captain can be.
I think even looking at Chaha when he came into Chennai as well, Dhoni throws him the new ball and he spends a couple of years bowling bowling good outswingers at the top, and Dhoni just kept backing him in type thing. So I remember 10 or 12 years ago being at Rajasthan with Chahar there, and it was he was pretty quickly forgotten about there. But obviously Chennai brought him in, and with Dhoni's guidance and captaincy, he's had a great career in the IPL. So again, looking at the sort of thing with Tushar, the Mumbai fast bowler that's with them now, and Mood spoke about it before. I think he's in the right place for him, and Dhoni's the right guy to guide him as well.
Yeah, we're bringing him up on a day where he's not batted and he's taken one catch, but you could see his fingerprints all over this. And I could in particular bring out one thing which was enjoyable, Tom. A lot of coaches or captains would have said, oh, there are left-handers there, let's not bowl our left-arm spinner. We've seen Akshar Patel not even introduced into the attack. Jadeja's got the three left-handers out, and between Santner and him, they've effectively turned this game. Again, perhaps MS does what a lot of teams perhaps don't for some reason or the other.
Yeah, he trusts his own instinct. He doesn't go by a playbook. He's very much your instinctive captain. And I think because of that and the way that he communicates to his bowlers, whether they be the experienced bowlers like a Jadeja or his inexperienced bowlers, they feel trusted and they feel like that they can, that they're backed and they can get the job done. So, as we know, it's nice to understand those matchups, but it's important to recognise when you've got a world-class spinner in Jadeja and Santner for that matter in this format of the game, it doesn't matter if they're bowling to left or right-handers. They're clever enough, and there's a reason at the peak of their powers is because they can bowl in any situation to any batsman in any conditions.
All right. Well done, Chennai Super Kings. And if they can pick up some more momentum, they go back home now. They play Rajasthan Royals in a few days' time. That should be a good game, great game at the Chepauk. But they've got almost a happy selection problem now. Tom, assuming Moeen Ali recovers and Ben Stokes is fit, how Ajinkya Rahane has now put himself saying, good luck dropping me after that game. Are you going to go back to the team that they started with and the one that beat Lucknow as that's our 11, and it's good to see the reserve players step up when called? They'll still go out? Or has this performance made you think, there are a few players that perhaps deserve to be in this 11 ahead of others?
Like most situations straight after a game, it's always best not to react on emotion. So I wouldn't like to declare what I think is the right thing at the moment. You can easily get carried away and think, definitely Rahane should play or this should play. And I think that's exactly the way Dhoni and Fleming will operate. They'll reflect, take some time to see exactly where Stokes is at and where Moeen Ali's at, and look at the conditions that they're facing down in Chennai and make the call then. I don't think there's a set pattern to how to work, but knowing how Dhoni operates, he tends to not like to change too many things and trust, the simple things that he started with, and that's what he'll probably fall back into.
Sounds like a man who's coached a lot.
He's been there and done it before.
Hasn't he?
It's not his first rodeo, Moods, no.
Yeah, smart man, intelligent man, right. Could I ask you to, just for fun, just give me your best overseas players, or can you do that? Is it fair to ask you that?
No, to be honest, I'm going to give you a boring answer. I tend to absolutely agree, and I don't think Dhoni's the sort of guy that's going to get flustered about decisions on that sort of thing. He's proven it in the past as well, and I think whatever. I think he's going to back in his instincts as usual. Yeah. All
right. Has the shine just gone off this MI-CSK derby?
You did mention at the start of the game is it still going to have the same shine? I mean, they're still the big clubs, aren't they? But at the moment, the shine's gone off a little, I suppose. But you still want to watch these games. The two biggest franchises, I suppose, or the most successful. You're still going to watch them, obviously. I
forgot what I was going to ask Tom. I was going to ask him the same thing. But let me go to you one last time. Tom, on this, I really can't. I was going to ask him exactly something on these lines. Right. Are these? Is this game now sort of not the same?
You're just trying to trip me up with something. That's what you're trying to
do. No, it's not going to work. You're too wily for me, Moody. It's not going to happen. But are these games not a big deal anymore, Tom?
I think they're a massive deal. These two sides have won 9 trophies. and that in itself holds a huge amount of prestige and pride in the tournament for those clubs, for the fans. So every single game that they play is a significant moment in the tournament, whether it accounts for, jostling for the top two, or whether it's, making sure they're not in the bottom three. It will make no difference. There's a huge amount of pride and there's enormous fan base for these two clubs, greater than any other club in this tournament. So therefore, it is a significant matchup.
All right, fine. Yes.
I think you said it backstage about Chennai. They've always had that knack as well, though. They're always probably going to be around the place, even if they're not looking as strong as we might think they might be. And to be honest, Mumbai as well, okay, not looking great at the moment, but they've had bad starts in the past and
they have
snuck themselves in. So
yeah. All right, look, it's looking similar to last season, though, for Mumbai and Chennai. It seems to be working together. This is what I did want to ask you, Tom. I was going to say the tournament needs a last ball finish. We haven't had one yet.
No, we haven't. Well, we've got a few games in front of us, Raunak, so I reckon that we'll find one, and we'll probably find a couple of super overs as well.
Excellent. And I wish you're here in studio with me then, Tom. I wish you well. Thank you very much for joining us. And a big thank you to Shaun, Tait as well. We'll see you soon, Teddy.
Yes.
You're going to be with us for a while. And thank you very much. This wasn't the close contest that we wanted, this classic game. It still is a high-stakes game, as Tom Moody and Shaun Tait have mentioned, to be. But at the same time, it's a great win for Chennai. They carry on 2 wins out of 3. Ruturaj Gaikwad has the orange cap back on his head. We didn't even mention his slightly different paced innings. In fact, before I leave, Teddy and Tom, maybe let me just get a quick word on that chase. If there's anything at all that CSK would be thinking, would you be saying, Tom, that they should have finished this game 2 or 3 overs sooner and maybe get that net run rate up? Or would you not think about that?
Yeah, possibly. Possibly they're in a position because they had wickets in hand, and particularly the start that Rahane gave them, they did have that opportunity. Yeah, I suppose that is one small criticism you could point at, but end of the day, I think Chennai is quite happy just to put the points in their pocket and go back down the road. Yeah,
with the way they're going, you may think they may not even need the net run rate if they just figure things out. It's all under control. Keep calm. Dhoni's back and very much in charge. Thank you, Teddy, Tom. We'll see you again very soon on ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout. Please do download our mobile app. It'll get you covered with some nice pieces. The atmosphere was terrific at the Wankhede. I'm sure Matt Rollo will have a thing or two to write about that at the end. And it's disappointing we sent our English analyst and expert there. None of the English boys showed up to play. So I'm sure he'll have a thing or two to write about. So we'll see Matt tomorrow in studio and we'll get Tom's thoughts as well. Nice couple of games. You've got an informed KKR, or at least a newly re-energized KKR against Gujarat, and you got Sunrisers Punjab in an important game for Hyderabad in the evening. So look forward to your company then on ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout. Good night.